equally nice.
Right, yeah. Absolutely. We're taking your guys' feedback in, and we're adapting accordingly. So I really appreciate everyone supporting us. Keep giving us those feedback, and we will continue to get better. We listen to everything you guys say, we promise. So the very first map of this best of 3 series is in the Grand Arena. Yeah, I didn't think so. There's no way.
Supertease is trying to throw in a curveball before he jumps into this arena, making sure he can put Beanslayerx, Gorecki, and I'm sure they don't know what's really going on. I'm sure they were really intimidated by Yaz Boomkin.
Dude, I would be. Are you kidding? That's terrifying. Oh my god.
Supertease really busting out all the mind games here.
Yeah, busting out the mind games. I mean, he had the commentator spot. He might as well abuse it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I think that Team Scouts Honor is going to be hitting Supertease a lot. They're going to try to use Beanslayer's offensive cooldowns to give Supertease. It's going to be hard if Tony Jr. Is able to get CC out. So if they're going to go on Supertease, I feel like they're going to have good cross CC on Tony Jr. this game.
I mean, I know that damage has been nerfed a bit, but like I feel like, oh, looks like they're gonna go ahead and leave. So I'll try to figure out what's going on there. But what I was gonna say is, don't forget that enhancement shamans have a lot of healing. So something was wrong.
For sure. Yeah, that's what I was saying. They absolutely need the cross CC.
Oh, okay, that makes more sense in my head now. Okay, my bad. So it looks like there is a DC.
Okay.
So we're gonna wait just a second. I mean, these guys were instantly ready, so they have the full 10 minutes to take up if they wanted, you know. So.
Cool, dude.
Kill me.
Cool, dude. I think it's a good rule. Gives teams a good amount of time to deal with these problems and sort of talk about any issues or strategies. How does the 10-minute rule work? Is it 10 minutes for the entire matchup? Do they get like 10 minutes between each round?
Each team gets individual 10 minutes, yeah. So it is for the entire matchup. So not just like, so for example, they use 5 minutes, they still got 5 more minutes to use.
Talk about the games or whatever?
Yeah, they can use it for anything. They can use it to, yeah, they could use it to change their strat, change their comp, whatever. But it starts 10 minutes after an admin gets in contact and they repeat. So it looks like both teams are ready once again. Potentially, hopefully, we'll see.
Come on, baby! What time does round 3 in the finals happen tomorrow, by the way?
Round 3.
So everyone knows.
The finals are occurring at a much earlier time than this. It's occurring at 1 p.m. Eastern. I believe that's 10 a.m. Pacific and 6 p.m., maybe potentially 5 p.m. Central Eastern Time. The reason why I say that is because Central Eastern Time is changing tonight. So that's something to take into consideration. But it's going to be much more EU-friendly of a time, so make sure to hit that follow button so you're notified when we go live. But that's all happening tomorrow, the semifinals and the finals. And right now, we're determining who goes to the semifinals and the finals right now. And it is, once again, Scouts Honor versus Tony from the Bronx. We got that Turbo Cleave versus that Jungle Cleave. Oh, baby.
All right.
All right, all right. So, I mean, I feel like the control of this jungle just gives them such more of an advantage. I don't know. To be honest with you, I'm not completely familiar with the strengths and weaknesses of the Turbo Cleave, but I feel like I want to say the comp advantage goes to the jungle. What do you think?
Well, if you think about it, I mean, Lyrics is going to have his Fear as a crowd control, and Fusion's going to be able to bop that. And Tony Jr., you know, he has Hex, and Beanslayerx can curse that as well as being immune to it. So, I mean, a lot of their crowd control and a lot of their offensive pressure is just like inherently countered by these classes, oddly enough. So I think it's going to be hard for them to really get anything going, and they're going to be on the back foot for most of this game.
All right, man. Here we go. Lyrics charging in right away, getting on that Hunter Gorecki. Gorecki is going to be slow. Got the hamstring going up. Lyrics continuing. Oh, he goes ahead and he heroic leaps. I think he tried to go for a kick onto Fuzion. I'm not sure if he landed it. No, he did not. Gorecki still taking a lot of damage. He is the kill target right now, doing a great job kiting Lyrics around, but Tony Jr. looks like he's going to be the kill target for Scout's Honor.
Yeah, Beanslayer just still sitting in stealth. I guess he's just waiting for Super T's to open. I mean, Super T's finally comes out in hots. Beanslayer is going to immediately go up, pounce on him, blow all of his cooldowns. Super T's answering that with his bark skin, but he's still going to be in a lot of trouble. Super T's might have to use more. Iron Bark comes out as well, down to 50%, having to use the NS Heart Heals. He literally used every cooldown he has because of that incarnation. He has nothing left, so the next stun on him could be devastating. Meanwhile, this Jungle Cleave still has all their cooldowns. They haven't really used anything defensively. This Turbo really hasn't been able to force much.
Yeah.
So the next stun on Super T's could be absolutely devastating. Huge sack being put into the Storm Bolt, but Super T's getting reopened up on with that bash. He still has his Heart of the Wild up, but he dips down to around 40%, displacing away, trying to get behind that pillar and hot himself up as much as humanly possible. The cross CC coming out onto Lyrics to try to avoid any sort of peels that could be happening. Super T's caught into the full trap. Meanwhile, Tony Jr. taking a significant amount of damage, having to pop that Shaman wall, having around 10 seconds left on that, where he's going to be taking 30% less damage, and he should be okay. Super T's out of the CC, able to get some hots up onto him, but this Turbo Cleave turning it around. Fuzion down to around 50%, spamming out the Word of Glory. It's still just getting chunked by this Turbo Cleave. Really well done by them.
This Warrior is not letting up on Fuzion at all. Like, he popped Recklessness right when Super T's was getting trained by Beanslayer, but I mean, I feel like Super T's is taking the short end of the stick here with the jungle is just taking so many defensive cooldowns from him. Like you said, he's in trouble. Tony Jr. now taking a little bit of damage, but there's a cross CC from Super T's going on to Beanslayer. I like that. Gorecki now trying to kite away as Fuzion was in that full hex, but oh my gosh, Gorecki taking so much damage. That's just the faint death for now, but he's still sitting so low. And there's the DR bash onto Huge Stack. Huge Stack still is taking so much damage. That's the full trap onto Super T's. Can they turn it around onto Tony Jr.? But the wings coming out from Fuzion. Fuzion trying to, oh, he actually gets locked out on his heal. He could be in a little bit of trouble here. Lyrics is just locking him down this entire game. It looks like he's going to be okay to free cast for now. Actually, he gets kicked again. Saved by the light procking. Roar Sacrifice coming out. He's got wings up. Is it going to be enough? He's going to be okay for now. Super T's going into that clone as Tony Jr. is taking a lot of damage.
Tony Jr. does have that wall available. If he feels like he's in trouble, he can always pop that, take some reduced damage. The Iron Bark coming out from Super T's, who gets hodged and trapped. He immediately trinkets that. Beautiful Fear coming out by Lyrics, hitting Beanslayer Gorecki, as well as Huge Sack. And it looks like they're just going to be sitting on Fuzion, trying to whittle him down. He's just hovering around 50% right now. The Purge is coming out by Tony Jr. Meanwhile, Super T is getting pressured as well, down to around 50%. Just sitting behind the pillar, trying to LOS Gorecki, but he's just getting wrecked by Beanslayer right now. It's going to be hard for him to top himself, but Fuzion taking so much damage, down to 30%. He still has his Trinket and Bubble available. He's going to Trinket. Oh man, he ended up overlapping his Trinket as well as Bubble. He thought he could get away with just the Trinket there on the Stormbolt, but has to Bubble too, and that overlap could actually end up biting him in the foot later on in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Super just taking so much damage. This jungle is relentless. There's Lyrics going into that Hodge, but it's DR. Super T is just trying to get away from this Feral Druid. There is the Bestial Wrath coming out into Super. He's in the middle of the map. He's got Iron Bark up, but is it going to be enough? He's hovering at around 50. He displaces away. Huge Sack, though, still taking a lot of damage, and that is going to proc his Saved by the Light. Again, he has wings up. Super T uses his NS. He's going to be okay for now. He has to use Bark Skin as well. He's just taking so much damage from this jungle, and that Rallying Cry is coming out on top of all that. Can Super just like recover from this? I feel like there's the incarnation coming out from Beanslayer. He does get bashed up on it though. That's a nice CC coming out from Supa, because that's going to tear him apart very soon here. And what does he even have left? Super Tease, he doesn't have Barkskin or Iron Bark left. He's in a lot of trouble if this incarnation lands, but it's not going to land because they're doing a great job peeling him.
Yeah, the incarnation's going to fade up. Beanslayer Super T is doing an excellent job getting the clone there. Another huge fear coming out of Lyrics onto their entire team. Super T's caught into the full trap, but this Jungle Cleave doesn't really have a good target. Chasing down Tony. Enhancement Shamans are inherently very tanky, as well as having that short cooldown defensive wall. Super T's Iron Barking Tony Jr., who has those hots, and Huge Sack. Fuzion having to put the bop on himself, as well as Saved by the Light proccing. He gets cloned on that bop. Beautifully done. As the clone fades, the bop's going to fade, and they're going to be able to pressure him again. And Fuzion really doesn't have too many cooldowns left. He has his trinket up in 10 seconds, but that's really it. He's going to be desperately waiting for those wings. He's down to 8%, 2%, and actually dies. This Turbo Cleave have way more pressure than I originally anticipated. Just being able to train down Fuzion and sort of survive. They did an excellent job there.
They have an interesting strat, man. I love that they have Lyrics on Fuzion the whole game, just locking him down. Who needs CC when you have a big scary warrior just controlling your character? Let's take a quick look at that replay. So right away you see here, that's the Cyclone on the Fuzion. He has Bop and Execution Sentence going up, and even his Save by the Light falls off in that Cyclone. That Cyclone was key, and he's trying to get the cast off, but he just can't. He can't, and there's a stun. Roar sacrifices up, but it's not enough. He gets an Execution range, and Lyrics is just gonna lock it in. And the very first map is gonna go to Tony from the Bronx. Oh man! So now it means us. Sorry, go ahead, man.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, I feel like the map choice is gonna matter. I don't know. Maybe it's not.
You do?
I think.
I wonder what map what map are they gonna pick though? That Fusion's safe. I mean, that was the main problem. Is Fuzion just got trained down the entire game? What's gonna be a good map where he's gonna be able to get away?
I mean, you could choose a map or you could choose a class.
You could choose a class. I mean, if he could go on Priest, and maybe they'll have more offensive pressure. With Priest, but
yeah, but I mean,
like, the Priest just ends up dying.
Like, yeah, me too. And not only that, but I mean, like, he's got the fears, but Tony has Tremor.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's a reason why he's playing Holy Paladin, because I think Priests are a little bit weak right now. But I don't know, who knows? Maybe he'll throw a curveball, and we could end up seeing Supatees, our fellow commentator, being in the top 4 of the semifinals for this tournament, which is kind of cool. Yeah. Being able to ring for Tony's team.
All right, man. I'm gonna press the go button as the map was chosen. Let's see here what's gonna happen. All right, so the next map, guys, is gonna be on Blades Edge Arena. I'll see you guys in there. Oh man. Alright, so this is Blades Edge Arena. This was chosen by Scout's Honor. Fuzion did actually go on his Priest. So that being said, well, I may have had a little help. As in they told me.
Yeah.
So,
but I mean, even still, I mean, maybe he feels like, I mean, Priest's biggest issue is their spread healing. So maybe he thinks if like they're just training him all game, he has a better chance surviving on his Priest. Maybe, I'm not exactly sure. Maybe he's just more comfortable on his Priest. I have no idea.
This is main.
This plays out.
You know, like even though like the composition might be better, I feel like he's probably a bit more confident on his Priest. But he's been playing his Paladin a lot. Yeah. You know.
Yeah. Still.
We'll see.
We'll see how this matchup goes. I mean, Priest is going to be nice. He's going to have the addition of Fear. I think they're going to probably end up doing the same thing, training down Super T's. Fuzion's probably going to try to get Fears out on Tony Jr. When they swap to him. The 3 trends coming out of Super T's right away, trying to get that healing out. Beanslayer taking a little bit of damage by Lyrics and Tony Jr. Fuzion popping those wings, trying to top off his team. But the Wreck Storm coming out of Lyrics doing so much damage to their entire team. Now it looks like Fuzion's is the choice. Lyrics immediately getting on him, but Tony Jr. under a little bit of pressure right now. The Ironbark comes out from Super T's. Beautiful clone by Beanslayer onto Tony Jr. during that Ironbark, but it didn't matter too much. Super T's still able to top him. And Lyrics just sitting on Fuzion. It's kind of a repeat of last game. And we'll have to see how well this Priest can survive compared to a Holy Paladin.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought Lyrics was actually going to go Beanslayer this whole time, but Fuzion just taking so much damage from this Turbo Cleave. It looks like both of the classes are actually targeting Fuzion at this point, and he's hovering at 30%. The Pain Sup is being forced out here. He's trying to get the jukes off, and he gets them. He's getting those casts out, and he actually has to trinket there. He's in a lot of trouble. This team has to get offensive. The full traps on the Super T's. Roar Sacrifice and the Fuzion. Is it going to be enough? It looks like he's going to be okay for now. The DR Wervin now out of that on the Super. Into a Silence. Tony's Shamanistic Rage is falling right now, but this is Ascendance, and Fuzion doesn't have a lot left. He's at 50% health here. He's trying to get away. Gorecki into that bash. He ends up trinketing it into Deterrencing, just trying to prevent the CC as he can help Fuzion as best he can. The Stormbolt goes out into Fuzion now. He's at 40% health here. He's in a lot of trouble. This Enhancement Warrior is just relentless on him, and actually the Fear goes out into Fuzion just to prevent heals? I'm not sure about that, but he's still hovering very, very low.
Yeah, and the big thing about this matchup, something to keep in mind, is Disc Priest, one of their main defensive toolkits is their Powered Shield, and Tony Jr. is just able to purge that off immediately. So one of his biggest heals and survivability tools just gets removed a lot of the time, especially if they have pressure. And meanwhile, Fuzion still just tanking the damage, and really this Jungle Cleave isn't able to get too much pressure out. The full chap coming out on the Super Tees, Tony Jr. having to blow that defensive wall, does get cloned by Beanslayer. Good clone by him. Super Tees out of CC now. He should be able to top Tony Jr. Getting as many hots out as he can. The NS comes out, some Trents come out. Fuzion actually sitting down for a drink. He knows mana is going to be a problem. That was a beautiful drink by Fuzion, playing smart for the late game. But Tony's still under a lot of pressure right now. Beanslayer gets interrupted on that clone. Well done by Tony Jr. on that. But Fuzion taking so much damage right now. The Storm comes out from Lyrics. The Stormbolt comes out on a Fuzion, down to 9%. He could just get executed. God. The Powered Shield comes off. He is going to get away with the penance, but geez, that was a really, really close call. Beautiful clones out from Beanslayer on the Lyrics, saving Fuzion's life.
That 100% saved his life, man. That was incredible. Fuzion survived for now, and now he has Pain Sup and Trinket. Looks like he's going to be okay, but this is Lyrics' recklessness. Fuzion just getting chunked, but at the same time, look at Supa. He's got Barkskin going, and he's getting chunked as well, but I don't know. Fuzion now heading the Stormbolt, and Lyrics rooted up. That was a really nice root by Beanslayer, giving Fuzion a little bit of breathing room as this Turbo Cleave is both targeting him once again. I feel like every single time they target Fuzion, with or without cooldowns, his health just gets chunked. And the Double Fear goes out onto both the DPS, and that forces both the trinkets from Gorecki and Beanslayer. Something to note, the Turbo Cleave is going to connect once again onto Fuzion, but the cross CC coming out from Beanslayer once again, the Cyclone. Lyrics now taking a lot of damage as Super Tees has to come out of that. Oh, there's the DR trap out of that. Lyrics is at full health though, and Fuzion is the one who's taking the bad end of this exchange.
And even though Super Tees has caught in a lot of CC there, the heals from Tony Jr. and Lyrics actually able to chop himself off while Super Tees was CC'd. So pretty incredible, the power of that Enhancement Shaman heals. Meanwhile, Super Tees putting a Cyclone on the Gorecki, and Fuzion still just being trained down relentlessly by Lyrics and Tony Jr. as much as possible. And mana could be a big issue this game. I mean, Fuzion already sat down for a drink, but he's still at less mana than Super Tees, and it might not even come down to that. I mean, he's at 30% right now, trying desperately to get away, but they are switching it over onto Super Tees, who pops that Iron Bark right away. Oh, these are all the cooldowns coming out of Beanslayer, and Super Tees is not out of the woods yet. He's in a lot of trouble, kiting away with Iron Bark and Barkskin up as much as he can. The bash comes out onto Beanslayer. Well done by Super Tees, getting away, popping that Stampeding Roar, crossing the map. And Fuzion under so much pressure right now by Lyrics. The Pain Sup comes up. Tony Jr. as well as Lyrics able to connect on him, doing a significant amount of damage. But it looks like the peel's coming out from Beanslayer, the Cyclone onto Lyrics. Fuzion should be able to top himself and get away from him now, but this is a really scary situation for Fuzion to be in.
Yeah, Fuzion's in a scary situation, but that's the bash on the Supa, and that's the Trinket. He doesn't have Barkskin or Iron Bark for 8 more seconds. Supa could be in some trouble here as well. Fuzion's doing a great job staying alive. There's Aurora Sacrifice going out into Fuzion. He's going to be taking a lot less damage because he's not going to be able to get crit on, but Super Tees, I feel like he's very, very vulnerable right now. But I love Gorecki's snares on both of these melee, as both of them are trapped in.
And here's the drink coming out of Fuzion, getting a lot of mana there. I mean, he went from 30% mana to 50% mana. The Double Fear coming out of Lyric, stopping that drink, trying to peel Gorecki a bit, and Beanslayer under a lot of pressure, down to around 28%, down to 40%. The Life Grip coming out from Fuzion, trying to top him off. But I think it was worth it. I mean, they had to blow a little bit of defensive cooldowns coming out of Beanslayer, but Fuzion was able to get that mana up, and he's still going to be the target of choice. And I think mana is a lot more important than Beanslayer's defensive cooldowns.
Yeah, so just like I said before, Supa was in a lot of trouble. Now he's not at all. Lyrics now getting the Iron Bark. He's in defensive stance with Fuzion. He's in the Stormbolt. He's at 30% health here. He's scared right now. He's got 37 seconds left on his pain suppression. But I mean, like, that drink was so important. Lyrics looks like he is the kill target for this jungle cleave right now. Beanslayer trying to get those cross CC. He does. He lands the Cyclone onto Tony. Fuzion has another second to breathe once again, but Lyrics jumps right in and charges a Fuzion again. Just never letting up on this poor priest.
Yeah, Super T's caught into the full clone by Beanslayer. Tony Jr. getting feared off by Fuzion. Fuzion trying to top himself off here, using those feathers to try to gain as much distance as he can from Tony Jr. Beanslayer doing an excellent job snaring Tony Jr., knocking him back so Fuzion has a little bit of breathing room, but Lyrics reconnecting onto Fuzion, gets caught in that Stormbolt. The pain sub does come off, but he might just die through it. Huge powered shields coming out by Fuzions, but it does get dispelled by Tony Jr., and he's just hovering around 34%, trying desperately to get away and top himself. Lyrics under a little bit of pressure, though. Super T's does have that trinket coming up in around 2 seconds. The parry comes out by Lyrics, avoiding that Hunter and feral damage, but Fuzion is still in so much trouble. As soon as these melee reconnect onto him, it's going to be a big problem.
Yeah, he lands the Fear on the Supa, but he gets tremored instantly, and now he's at 35% mana. I don't think this turbo is going to let him get another drink, man. That's the Stormbolt. He ends up trinketing it instantly. Fuzion just trying to get away from this double melee. The main goes out into Lyrics. Beanslayer trying to peel him off of his priest, and he jumps right in. There's the bash onto Super T's or anything to follow it up. There's the full trap. It's trinketed instantly. Super T's just making sure to keep his team completely offensive. And there's the Fear onto Tony Jr., though, so he can't tremor it on himself, but Gorecki and Beanslayer are both starting to get kind of low. We're at 17% dampening here, and this priest is starting to struggle. Versus Super T's is at 60% mana. He looks like he's completely okay. Lyrics and Tony now, they're fine. They're connecting once again into Fuzion. There's the full stun. He's just taken so much damage. He's at 40% health here. Fuzion has literally nothing left besides Stone Form, and I don't think that's going to be enough. He's still at 40% health here. Beanslayer just trying their best, but look at Supa. Supa's taking so much damage. There's Iron Bark and Barkskin coming out, and even you could see the dampening. It's starting to take effect to these healers.
Yeah, that was Incarnation coming out of Beanslayer on the Super T's, but they had to use everything. They had to use Rallying Cry, Iron Bark, Barskin, NS, everything. So Super T's could be in a lot of trouble. Meanwhile, Fuzion down to around 38%. This dampening really taking a toll on this Disc Priest. Up to around 21% right now, and he's just going to be relentlessly trained down into execute range, and this could just be the end. The Blade Sword comes out, catches a huge heal though, able to get himself up to around 40% HP, but Lyrics recharging down to 50%. The execute comes out, and I mean, despite a well-played game by Fuzion, he is a Disc Priest.
He is a Disc Priest, and he's going to get an execute range, and Lyrics is going to secure the kill, and that's going to be 0-2 for Tony from the Bronx, and Tony from the Bronx is going to advance to the semifinals. Oh,
Super T's in the semifinals.
Super T's in the semifinals, boys.
The ringer coming out of left field.
Just want to take a quick second to shout out Scouts Honor. Those players are phenomenal players, and I'm so happy that they came and competed, and I hope to see them all again. Seriously. All right.
I'm alive!
You're alive! You made it, buddy! Good
I'm
job!
not dead!
Alright, so, that being said, Supa, are you ready to come back and commentate?
I'm back, dude.
How'd you do? How do you feel good right now, man?
I was scared.
You guys did great, though.
It's horrifying as a Resto Druid when a Feral Druid opens up on you with Incarnation. It's like, it's the scariest thing ever. You have to use everything.